I'm Victoria. Do you struggle with trying to figure out where to start with a scrapbook page? Well, in our last episode, we talked about scrapbook basics and tools that you'll need, the essential things you need to put a layout together. Well, in this episode, we're going to actually talk about some of the mechanics behind putting a scrapbook page together. We're going to talk about photo focus design, a product design focus, and as well as a story-based design. And these things combined together will help you to put a fantastic layout together. The most important elements of a scrapbook page are essentially the photo and the story. But if you're going to start out making a page, I always recommend starting with the photo. Your photo, of course, is going to tell a multitude of things. Of course, we're using the photo because we want to tell a story in a beautiful, creative way. This particular layout, I have a picture of my daughter who is showing off some earrings, book earrings that she purchased not too long ago from the Percy Jackson book series because she's completely obsessed. So I started with this particular layout for two reasons. One, I want to highlight this story. It's a transition in her life. She has different interests in things, and it's fun to scrapbook those types of things. Also, the photo itself is really focused here on the topic, which are her cute book earrings. And so I selected this photo to create the layout. Now, for some folks, they select photos not only for the story, but this could also be the jumping off point for the elements that you want to use on your page. And so here she's got some oranges, there's a little bit of tans and stuff in the background, some neutral things. And so I knew that I can bring in some products that would go well with this orange. It doesn't have to be exactly that color, but it works well when I'm talking about this from a product standpoint. But more importantly, I wanted the story to stand out, which is why I selected this particular photo. So if your layout is photo-driven, then you want to select a photo that's going to completely tell your story, or at least tell your story in the best that it can. It can be more than one photo if you like, or it could just be one singular photo. There's no rhyme or reason, there's no rules. I'm using a standard 4x6 photo, which is a perfect size to start out with whenever you are creating a scrapbook layout. The photo can be printed vertically or horizontally, or you can do a mix of both. It's completely up to you. Remember, you can't mess this up. Now, for some scrapbookers, they like to start with the story. So photos are fantastic, but maybe words are more important. And so sometimes I will type up my journaling and get the story fleshed out first, and that will kind of drive where I want the layout to go. Here I just have some simple journaling, but this can definitely be extended to talk about a multitude of other things with regards to this story. If your layout is story-driven, then start by maybe drafting a little bit of what that story is going to be so you know exactly what you want to say. And then as far as your layout design, if you have a lot of words, then you want to make sure that you have enough space on your layout to include that journaling. Now, the third way to approach scrapbooking or a scrapbook layout is being product driven. Now, there's not a shortage of products out there for scrapbooking. In fact, it can be super overwhelming. What I like to do is pare down the products that help me to tell the story best. This particular collection that I'm using from Simple Stories is perfect. One, because the colors coordinate well with my photo. And sometimes I do use my photos as a jumping off point for the colors and things that I want to use on my layout. But also, this particular collection has a lot of fun elements on it that I think work well to tell this story. From the colorful pattern paper to the big, bold foam elements to these little tiny elements like a camera, a little sun, and little flowers. I love adding little touches of whimsical things here and there, particularly when I'm scrapbooking about my daughter. So all of these things help to inform what I'm going to use on my layout. I like to choose a multitude of different things to use, from chipboard pieces to enamel dots to brads, things with texture, stuff with dimension, and lots of color depending on the story and the theme of my layout. And I don't put any limits on myself either. I just like to sit down and create and have fun and to see what comes out. This particular layout, what I have here are elements that are in what's called a visual triangle. So I have a layered cluster here. Your eye is drawn over here to this cluster, and then your eye is drawn over here, creating a visual triangle. Very simple approach to scrapbooking. So when you're first starting out, not sure where to start with either the photo, start with your story, or maybe start with the product. And sometimes it's a combination of all three. You can't go wrong. The main thing is pick a starting point and go.